lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Chicagoland Speedway, the Racers Elite Xfinity Series is about to finish off the 2023-2024 season. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Joliet, Illinois, where tonight we look excitedly to find out who our champion will be. Ronnie Norman led all 98 laps last week and looks to cap off his season with a win here at Chicagoland, while the rest of his fellow contenders are cranked up and ready to roll just outside the Windy City. I'm Dave Riegel alongside my partner in crime, Mr. Alan Bergen, and here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. And we'd like to thank you for making SRM a part of your evening, as we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And I'll tell you what, Alan, here we are, championship week. We're looking forward to everything going on now, you know, as it all comes down to this. No holds barred tonight at Chicago.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is I was talking to a couple of drivers here during practice, and they're excited, we're excited, And I've only passed by Joliet, Illinois. I've never even been to Joliet, Illinois. But this is it's a home race for one Austin Smith, and it's an away race for everybody else.
Without a doubt, and 66 degrees if you're in the stands tonight in Joliet, so nice and comfy there here as the sun has gone down, the lights are on the track. 67 degrees the asphalt temperature, so as that track has a little bit more time to cool down, we should see that grip really tighten up for these drivers as we get further into the evening. So we want to take a look here at qualifying as it's now gone underway. Matthew Jarrett here in the 80. He's out here, another playoff driver in his Chevrolet Camaro, currently being timed here, not yet as he's on his first lap. And, Chicago kind of runs itself like a low-banked super speedway. You can really hold that throttle open and basically burp it to get the car to rotate here in the corner. The rotation of that car going to be key tonight, because coming out of 4, that can be calamity corner as Matthew Jarrett lays down a 30.2 second lap here in qualifying for lap number 1. I expect to see that speed increase substantially here this time around, but coming out of turn 4 can be calamity corner, as I was just saying. And, if you don't get into 3 properly, exit out of 4 can be treacherous. So, and of course, when you come out of 4, you almost want to be, a little rub of the wall. That may negate the lap anyway. But coming out of 4, you're trying to get as close down to that apron as humanly possible. And, yeah, it looks like that negated that lap here, as Michael Brooks went 11th fastest in his first lap in the Coors Chevrolet. Brandon Honeycutt out on his first lap, getting ready to see what his time would be. 13th fastest on lap number 1. A little bobble there as he's in turns 1 and 2 coming down the back chute. And we're going to look one more time at this racetrack. There's no straightaway per se. It's more like a back stretch. It's definitely not a straightaway by any stretch of the term, as this track is basically a weird-shaped egg.
Yeah, pretty much, Dave. You hit the nail right on the head. And right now, to your point, these guys are trying to get to that 30.02 that Austin Smith laid down. So, Dave, you got to talk to Austin before, while he was practicing, before the start of qualifying. And, there's a 5-point difference separating Austin Smith and Ronnie Norman right now. So, Austin Smith plans to put it on the bolt and then drive off with the start of green flag and never look back.
Kensley Smith now going second fastest on the timing line with a 30.1. Austin Smith, though, blowing them out of the water by nearly a tenth of a second at 30.02. So 0.08 of a second faster. Aaron Marquis here in the number 41 Hellman Chevrolet, getting ready to cool down after the second lap here. He's going to roll out of turn 4, dive down to nearly the grass line, and Aaron Marquis goes 8th fastest. Ronnie Norman, last week's winner, doing Dale Earnhardt Jr. proud here in the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet Camaro. And I'll tell you what, we've talked about it so many times, and there are days where I really miss seeing the old number 8 with that stylized E coming off of the front fenders. It's a cool looking car. I don't care who you are. And, I think the only thing, and I was pondering it after our show last week, and the one thing that used to really upset me as a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan when I was a kid is that in every EA Sports NASCAR game, it just said Dale across the hood because they couldn't have beer.
It would make me upset too, especially because Rusty Wallace was the Miller car for so long, and his would say Rusty on it.
And of course, during the heyday of the Viagra car, it just said Mark Martin across the hood. To be fair, most kids didn't even know what Viagra was then, as Ronnie Norman goes 5th fastest here with a 30.21, so still 0.2 of a second off of Austin Smith. And to be honest, I don't know if he's got enough speed in the number 8 here to make up 0.2 of a second and beat down Austin Smith. He does get close down to that apron. We're going to watch him slingshot his way almost out to the wall, and now diving back in against the grass, crossing the start-finish line. Ronnie Norman, wow, just made me look like an idiot and broke the 29-second barrier, went 29.92 seconds. Ronnie Norman, you, sir, have some nitrous in that car, I believe. So
wow.
check him for lead shot. And he just casually hops out of the car. You know what? I'm going to see if we can get a hold of Ronnie Norman quick, because just made me look like a clown. Hey, Ronnie, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you. Just still shaking a little bit here, bud.
You should be shaking. Listen, you made me look like a clown is what happened here. I'm like, oh, there's no way he can make up 0.2 of a second and go from 5th to 1st. No, instead, you blew past 1st and opened up a 0.1 of a second gap better than Austin Smith.
Yeah, that was wild. I don't know if he ran the top in 3 and 4 on his second lap or not, but I think I ran the bottom, and I think that's what gave me that little bit of an extra edge there. So I don't really know what he did, but yeah, I think I knew coming in I needed that point. So now we're down to 4 heading into this race, and hopefully it's a lot more doable now.
Buddy, if that's not doable, I don't know what is, because you just blew my mind. I mean, last night I felt like I was like the Tony Romo of iRacing. I was guessing where cars were going to be. We were at a race in Daytona, Alan and I were, and I'm guessing where people are going to be, and I'm nailing everything. And tonight, right out of the gate, you make me look like a nut.
Well, hopefully it's not the last time I make you look like one tonight. Hopefully we can do it again.
All right, buddy. Listen, congratulations on capturing the pole here, and we'll see you in a little while, I'm sure.
Well, we still got Daniel to go. He's not too. He's pretty quick himself. So hopefully we got this locked up. But yeah, like I said, I appreciate it, and we'll see what we can get done tonight.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
All right, thank you guys.
That, of course, the voice of Ronnie Norman, driver of the number 8 machine. I'll tell you what, Alan, every night that you and I work together, it seems like something else wild comes out of left field.
Just when you think you got these guys figured out, they throw you a curveball.
Yeah, there's no such thing as the usual suspects, I swear. You know, a lot of these leagues, you know, I know that you cover WSRL, and, there's a lot of, the usual suspects in WSRL. But not tonight. Nope. 130 laps, the scheduled distance. Let's take a quick peek at our qualifying results here. A couple of names to mention, of course, Ronnie Norman and Austin Smith, Jeremy Carter, Kensley Smith. We're going to get through all of those. Todd Slauson down here in 18th, the playoff driver. So it's this top 18, 26 drivers going to be taking the green flag already. There we go. So let's take a look at our starting grid. Ronnie Norman captures the pole award for this evening here in the number 8 machine out of Terre Haute, Indiana. Austin Smith going to join him from Burlington, Wisconsin on the front row. Jeremy Carter from Bloomington, Indiana, just going to start on the inside of row number 2. Joined by Kensley Smith from Tarboro, North Carolina on the outside. Row number 3 going to be Brandon Sanfilippo on the inside of row 3, joined by Ian Campbell on his outside. Row number 4 going to feature Andrew Teft out of Hope Valley, Rhode Island, alongside Matthew Jarrett from Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Corey Crowell and Jarrett Larder going to round out the top 10 in row 5, while Gordon Spain and Kyle Cooper make up row number 6. Row 7 going to be Joshua Neal and Alex Teft, while Dennis Kane and Aaron Marquis going to be in row number 8. John Schoenbachler and Todd Slauson going to start in row number 9. Slauson, a playoff driver. You can see that green there on the hood. As Brandon Puffenbarger and Lee Campbell going to be in row number 10. Row number 11 going to be Ricky Rowland and Michael Brooks, while Truth Hoke and Daniel Honeycutt going to be in row number 12. Starting shotgun on the field tonight in the final row, Brandon Honeycutt and George Sprinkle in the number 21. So 26 drivers going to take the green flag tonight here in championship week. As I've only been along for the ride for the last couple of weeks, but what a joy it has been to sit here alongside of you, Alan, as the iRacing.com pace car is getting ready to make that famed left turn down pit road as we work their way through turns 3 and 4. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab a sausage, call a friend, and settle in. Race fans, it's show time!
Ronnie Norman gets the whole shot off of Austin Smith. 4 points separate these two drivers here from a championship tonight. Is it going to be the Ronnie Norman show? Is it going to be the Austin Smith show? We don't know as they head down that back straightaway.
When I say grandma grab a sausage, I do mean a kielbasa. We are here in the city of big shoulders. I feel like I've got to clarify that one. As we look here, Kensley Smith and Jeremy Carter side by side in turns 3 and 4 as we work our way back down to the front stretch. Austin Smith, though, starting to lose ground on Ronnie Norman already. We take a look back here. Gordon Spain now here in this battle for 7th and 8th position as Spain in the 33 trying to find his way to maybe go single file here and consider whether or not he's going to take on Corey Crowell, as he's got the speed. Crowell's got the short distance here on the low side.
Yeah, the inside is definitely the fastest way around. And like you said, to your point, Dave, these guys are going to race this place like a super speedway. You know, I mean, this is going to be a fun race tonight. And I got to believe that, Austin Smith could probably win the championship. But Ronnie Norman also believes that he can win this championship.
We have a battle for the lead breaking out already as Austin Smith looks to the inside of Ronnie Norman. And I'll tell you what, as we're here in the city of Chicago, that there's going to be one of the great... Oh, and the caution flag comes out. I guess I've got to stop the shtick and see what happened here with Kyle Cooper. It's almost like they knew I was about to slide into Saturday Night Live mode. Let's see what went on here, as it looks like maybe this started with the 2 of Jarrett Larder. Not really sure. We're going to let's take a closer look. So we're going to go to Larder here from the chopper cam. I'm sorry, from the blimp cam. It looks like maybe this starts even further back. So we'll take a look here as maybe Larder, there it is. Maybe if we see right here from the nose of Larder what happened here.
Here comes.
Larder looking to the inside and just, the 73 was looking to get around and came across the nose of Larder.
I think it was just the same piece of real estate kind of deal.
So here we are in a certain city with a certain football team coached by perhaps the best coach that ever lived, Ditka. Maybe we'll go get us some winks down there at Ditka's restaurant. God, I didn't understand that stuff until I was much older, and now it makes so much sense to me. I love it. George Wendt was fantastic.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially the whole era of Saturday Night Live from all through the 90s.
The worst part is, during the 90s, I was too young to stay up and watch it. Now I'm too old to stay up and watch it. I really kind of missed like my perfect timing for watching Saturday Night Live, so now I'm too old to stay up and watch it, so I watch it on a Sunday afternoon before racing.
Well, good news for you is you can stream it all on Peacock.
Peacock, Hulu, whatever I want. It's fantastic. Yep. It's just, I realized that, I was thinking about it a couple of weeks ago while I was watching Saturday Night Live, and I thought, I was too young to watch it and stay up then, and now I'm too old. I missed the sweet spot. It's really what happened here.
Did you start at the beginning, though, with Chevy Chase? And
I did start at the beginning, and I want to say the first host of Saturday Night Live was the great George Carlin. I caught an episode with Desi Arnaz hosting. So I'm old enough to know who Desi Arnaz was. But too young to know who other people like Gilda Radner. I mean, I wouldn't know her unless I watched it.
So that leads me to this question. Do you still go to bed when MASH comes on?
MASH is my all-time favorite television show. I literally do go to bed with MASH every single night of the week. It is like a baby with a pacifier.
Well, the one that needs a pacifier right now is Ronnie Norman as we come back to green through the restart zone. Ronnie Norman is down and away, and we are off racing back here in Chicago.
Ronnie Norman gets the good jump here on the restart on lap number 7 of 130. I'll tell you what, I'm watching a lot of these drivers, and, you know, yeah, it's championship week. You want to be able to springboard yourself into next week. Starting the next season, you know, the 24 season off strong. And, you know, I don't blame them. Not one bit. Taking a look here at Brandon Puffenbarger in the 5. He's working the high side just over top of Kyle Cooper. Now he's going to literally just blow the doors right off the red man. That's the 68 of Ricky Rowland. And I am not a chewing tobacco guy anymore. Once upon a time, I gave that a swing. I was more of a Levi Garrett fella. And the only thing I can remember thinking about Redman or Levi Garrett is vomit. It was not a good experience. But I thought I looked tough for about 10 seconds until I, you know, lost my lunch. Anyway, back to the race. Taking a look here at the 20, that's Corey Crowell working just underneath Jeremy Carter. He makes the pass and secures 7th position away from Crowell here on lap number 9. These guys aren't really taking their time tonight. There's a sense of urgency that we generally don't see from Racers Elite. When I say generally don't see, I mean, you know, it's championship night. You want to make sure that you know, finish strong so that you can get yourself set up for next week and really just kind of go into next week with confidence. And,
yeah.
You know, generally these guys are lay back and pick you off one at a time, guys, but we have a lot of side-by-side action here on the racetrack. I mean, right now, Ronnie Norman being challenged on the inside as we've got a battle for the lead. Austin Smith peeking now to the inside with Ronnie Norman close in tow. Take a look at this from the nose of the 15 as he can watch this whole battle raging in front of him from Kensley Smith. Now, Kensley Smith is more than happy to watch these two guys go at it because at this point, they're slowing themselves down, and you can watch Kensley Smith drawing ever so close here onto Norman and Smith as Norman getting ready to secure the lead away from Smith. They're dead even, and now Smith getting ready to make the pass on Norman. As it looks like Ronnie Norman going to have to really fight hard here for the lead.
Yeah, these guys are...
a little bit of bobble from Austin Smith. That's going to open the door for the 15 of Kensley Smith. A pair of Smiths here.
That's not what Austin
Smith now makes the pass just that easy underneath Austin.
That's not the thing that Austin Smith needs. He needs to stay up there in front. Because every point matters here tonight.
A whole lot of green up here. Austin Smith, Kensley Smith. I see the 15 of Kensley Smith. Let's see if we can get a hold of the production truck and get that color fixed.
Because Ian Campbell going underneath Kensley Smith also. And that's... He's going to try to take it 3 wide. And Ian Campbell cannot clear him. Here comes Kensley Smith there on the outside. Ronnie Norman trying the outside line, trying to make something work there. Ian Campbell is not going to go down easily. It looks like Austin Smith here, he's going to try to make that move on the outside, and they are side by side at the line here. Gives the advantage to Austin Smith by a bumper for that P3 spot right there.
Yeah, going to ride along here with Ian Campbell. If we can. Production truck still trying to recover from changing the color on Kensley Smith. But riding along with Ian Campbell here, peeking once again to the inside of the 23. You can see how much bumping there is here as we're going to go right to the gyro cam. You can see how rough this car is to ride around in. These Xfinity cars have a solid axle between between all four wheels, front and back. And, that being said, that's a lot to hold on to.
So a lot of these guys that are running tonight, they will run tomorrow also. And you can see that race on SRM here too. Shameless plug. So, I mean, a lot of these drivers could treat this as a test session. We got 120 laps to go here, or more than 120 laps to go. But nonetheless, we're still riding along with Ian Campbell here on the outside. He fell back in line, and we're back up at the front with Ronnie Norman there in that 8 car, and he is out to a half-second lead over Kinsley Smith.
Yeah, Ronnie Norman with the half-second lead. We look back through the field and find a tight battle here. 4 cars now battling it out for what appears to be about 11th position. And right now your 11th place driver is Aaron Marquis, now Todd Slauson. So side by side goes the 88 and the 41. The 73 of Kyle Cooper looks to the inside of the 98.
Matthew Jarrett looking to the inside of Andrew Tefter, or that's Daniel Honeycutt, my bad. Looking to the inside of Andrew Tefter. And there's 3 wide coming out of turn 2.
3 wide action here at Chicagoland is not unheard of. It's not like there's a tough transition between turn and stretch because it's all one graceful turn. Taking a look here at Andrew Teft working the inside now of Aaron Marquis as they go side by side. Wow! Did you see that move from the 88 of Todd Slauson?
That was about
Watch
as close
this
as
here,
you could
folks.
get.
This is worth another peek. Now, watch Slauson here. He's got Kyle Cooper just behind. Now, Cooper's going to get a run on him in just a moment. Or at least I would think it was in just a moment. Here we go. Watch the 73 get this run. He's going to go right to the high side of the 88, drafting up behind the 82. Now, where is this going to... There it comes. The 73 side drafts off the 82. The 88 getting ready to defend itself. The 73 sliding up side by side. They go fender to fender. And then all of a sudden, the 88's going to get a run right about now. That's weird. I don't know how the camera missed that replay, but I was excited to see it. Obviously, it didn't happen when we thought it did. All bang, no buck. The 33 taking the rub of the wall. That's Gordon Spain.
And we're going to go 3 wide again. Joshua Neal on the inside of Aaron Marquis and Gordon Spain. Here comes Daniel Honeycutt on the inside also. Going to try to get that 2-for-1 special as he's going around, as he's working around Gordon Spain also in the 33 car.
You know, all of this raging back here in the field as we see Kyle Cooper side by side with Brandon Puffenbarger, and now just ahead of him the 43 of Alex Teft, as Teft trying to defend in the 43 Aflac Ford Mustang. You know, all of this going on, and Ronnie Norman is just out here for a nice little drive on a Wednesday night.
It's still a half-second ahead of Kinsley Smith. He's got that beer can off and running. And, you know, I want to note, too, Dave, that, you know, Ronnie Norman, this is where he won his very first iRacing win. And back in 2014 when he got on the service.
10 years in the sim is a long time. I mean, heck, 3 years in the sim is a long time. Watch Brandon Puffenbarger here in the 5 as he is still working over Alex Teft, really trying to wrestle this position away for 7th. as Teft is just not going to give up easily. We go back here to Brandon Sanfilippo, and Sanfilippo here in the 27 in kind of a hornet's nest. Basically, if I was him, I'd be waiting for somebody to make a mistake. 25 laps in the books already. And believe you me, we aren't even close to getting this thing cranked to crazy.
Ooh, little wiggle there by Sanfilippo as they head off into turn number 1. It looks like Sanfilippo got a little loose underneath Aaron Marquis there in that number 41 Hellman Chevrolet.
Wiggle it just a little bit. It keeps everybody on their toes. I'll tell you what, I'm the kind of driver where if I see somebody get loose in front of me, I suddenly, turn into like an amputee and my right foot disappears completely. I'll pull it away from the pedal and just wait for mayhem.
Sometimes you just got to do that. So we got 130 laps. Norman is falling like a rock here in timing and scoring. There he is. He's back. Shows him back up there in the front.
As we take a look here, the 8 to 15 and the 3, all nice and spread out, Alan.
Yeah, Ian Campbell here running in what appears to be the 3rd position here. As the top 3 are all nice and spread out. So therefore, not a whole lot going on up here back at the ranch. But here comes Austin Smith here, closing in on Ian Campbell to try to wrestle that 3rd position away. And what Ronnie Norman needs to do is continue doing what he's doing, and that's pull away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, we're still about 15 laps away from where we're going to start to see the all-important green flag pit stop window open, as just a few drivers came down on lap 4 for repair after that initial wreck. But right now the highest driver who came down on 4 is Kyle Cooper, and considering that he spent 14 seconds on pit road, I'm guessing he wanted fresh tires for some reason. Not entirely sure.
Yeah, those tires might have got flat spotted when he spun out, but nonetheless, he's making hay now as he's up to 8th place, effectively ahead of what it looks like to be Matthew Jarrett there in that number 80 car.
Taking a look right now at Schoenbachler here in the 9. In the Maxwell house, good to the last drop. Chevrolet Camaro, he's currently trying to chase down Gordon Spain in the 33 Bass Pro Shops tracker machine, as Schoenbachler now makes it look just that easy to slide around. The young man out of Louisville, Kentucky, here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series, showing us that, listen, even people who drink Maxwell House can get a little excited every now and then. I don't know about you, but Maxwell House is, it's just a pass.
It's a hard no for me on any coffee brand.
No, I am currently all about Death Wish coffee. I'm pretty sure it's coffee mixed with cocaine. And whoa, Brandon Puffenbarger pointing the wrong direction. Let's take a look here and see how we got here, as it maybe might have been the result of trying to get down on pit road for reasons I'm not quite sure of. We'll ride along here with him. And we see him angling himself coming out of 3. Yeah, it looks, he was trying to make the entry into pit road and just, that's not a safer barrier there.
No, that is not a safer barrier by any stretch of the imagination.
Green flag pit stops underway, so I guess they're going to be at 30 laps for pit stops, as Ronnie Norman out of Terre Haute, Indiana, coming down along with Austin Smith, Corey Crowell, Gordon Spain down pit road, Joshua Neal, Alex Teff, Dennis Kane, Daniel Honeycutt, and Ricky Rowland. So green flag pit cycles underway. That's going to cycle playoff driver Ian Campbell up here to the lead. as he is here in the number 12 Ford Mustang. The body armor number 12. I'll tell you what, are you a body armor guy?
I am a degree guy.
A what?
No, no body armor for me.
I mean, what happens if you get into some type of, gunfight during the day? It's St. Louis. It's St. Louis.
Just because we have a higher crime rate than Detroit doesn't mean anything.
I mean, if you say so. At least Detroit can make themselves a bulletproof vehicle. What are you going to do? Defend yourself with an arch and a beer? Kyle Cooper now going out to the lead. He was last down on lap number 4. So we expect to see him down in the next few laps here as Brandon Honeycutt, and Lee Campbell are going to cycle to the lead. Jeremy Carter, Brandon Sanfilippo, and Jarrett Larder all down pit road. So 36 laps in the books as we get everything cycled and taken care of. We're taking a look here at our track temperature. It's actually up 2 degrees from when the green flag flew at 67. So not sure what's got the asphalt warm, but that's fine. Not too uncomfortable.
Pull up a lawn chair. Go to the beach.
It's not a
Kyle
beach
Cooper.
in Chicago. It's a lake with stuff along the edge. I don't want to be bougie or anything, but it's not a beach unless it's salt water and sand, not gravel and fresh water. I mean, I'm sure going to the lake in Chicago is nice. I'm sure it's a great lake. You see what I did there?
I did.
I'm sure it's a great lake because, the Great Lake,
Informative and entertaining here on a Wednesday night. Nonetheless, Kyle Cooper assumes the lead with Brandon Honeycutt right on his tail as we are working green flag pit stops right now.
While they get themselves all sorted out here on green flag pit stops, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave. Whoa! The 73 not able to get onto pit road. I didn't think that getting onto pit road at Chicagoland was that hard, but here we are killing it. Anyway, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. He's Alan Bergen, and this is Sim Racing Media.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Musket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to Chicagoland Speedway, where the Racers Elite Xfinity Series is here in Championship Week. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Glad to have all of you with us tonight. Ronnie Norman, your race leader, Alan.
And he is doing exactly what he said he needed to do. He said, I need to go out, start leading this race, and get out front and widen the gap, and that's what he's doing. Done. But nonetheless, he's only 4 points ahead of Austin Smith. And I'm not quite sure how the points are stacked up right now, but I'm sure that gap is not closed up at all.
Well, I'll tell you what, if that gap gets any wider, we're going to need Moses to get through there, because Ronnie Norman has opened up a 1.3 second lead over top of Austin Smith. Jeremy Carter here battling it out with Alex Teft for 8th position. And just behind them, another battle brewing, as we've got Andrew Teft battling it out here with Aaron Marquis.
Yeah, Aaron Marquis there. He's had a good run. He's one of those drivers that cannot wait until next Wednesday night when we start the new season here on Racers Elite. And it looks like that car got a little squirrely coming through the tri-oval.
Taking a look at Michael Brooks here. As Michael Brooks coming down against the grass. What are you doing down there, Michael? Not sure why he came to a dead stop on the front stretch. Unless... I can't imagine it's this. Nope. Well, let's see. Maybe he had an engine malfunction. I don't know. Let's see if we can get right in here into the cockpit. We're gonna see right from here. No sign of an engine failure yet. Oh. Well, that tachometer was starting to fluctuate around 8,000 RPMs. Yeah, he didn't run out of fuel or anything. He just pulled it down to the backstretch.
I think his fun meter's been pegged for the night.
That sounds about legit. So under caution for just the second time tonight, wholesale pit stops underway after just coming down a short time ago. Time to get some fresh Mr. Feelgoods and a tank of Go Fast as they come off of pit road. It's going to be Austin Smith, Ronnie Norman, Ian Campbell, Kensley Smith, Daniel Honeycutt, Todd Slauson, Jeremy Carter, Alex Teft, Brandon Sanfilippo, and Brandon Honeycutt. So just 4 drivers in your top 10, not playoff drivers. That makes it kind of interesting.
Yeah. Daniel Honeycutt, he's had a pretty good year so far. He got his win. He got a win there at Pocono earlier in the season. So, he's going to be a guy to watch next season, Dave. Next year, you get to do the full season of Racers Elite here for the Xfinity cars.
Yeah, and I do look forward to being here for an entire season, as we're looking forward to that together. I love these Xfinity cars. Xfinity was probably my best car back during my driving days. It was the first level of league that I ever called, and it's just downright good.
Downright good it is.
I like being able I like the fact that you can still tape up your grill and loosen that son of a gun up. I like that you can still, make as many adjustments to these. Of course, we're in a fixed league here, but, in an open league, I like being able to make that like a simple, let me loosen up by putting a little bit of tape on the grill. I don't have to get all, sciencey and figure it out.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And the Xfinity cars is, you can make those small, tiny adjustments here and there. If the car's a little too tight, you can make it a little loose. Or if it's a little loose, you can make it a little tight. It doesn't matter. It's all about your personal preference.
Even in these cars, wedge is easier to adjust. You're not worried about shock, springs and so on and so forth. Just adjust the wedge, please and thank you.
These guys are starting to get doubled up here. Kyle Cooper going to go and get the wave around here, and we're ever so slightly closing in on the end of this Xfinity season. But tomorrow you can catch Mike Simone and Daniel Paulus Jr. as Mike is filling in for Jonathan Leach, as Jonathan Leach is on assignment.
Yeah, and it's exciting that we have such a crew here at Sim Racing Media, and it's something that we can't understate by any stretch of the term. Even at this point in the year, when we have so many different leagues that we're calling, and we're working basically 6 nights a week. In fact, let's look at next week's schedule while we have a minute to preview. Sunday night, of course, Saturday night starts off our race week, ISNF. It's going to be you and someone else calling that. We're not sure who's going to be replacing the great Frank Marchese. Liam and you are going to then call ECR at 9 p.m. 8 o'clock on Sunday night Eastern Time. It all comes down to Sunday night in prime time for you and I as we call the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. Then Monday, myself and Sam will be on the SCL Series League Models at 9 p.m. Eastern. Next Tuesday, then you and Mike Damone are going to be starting Racers Elite the next season, along with Extreme, which is going to be Daniel, and we're not sure who's going to cover the other half of that, as well as WSRL with Liam and Sam at 10:20 Eastern, as WSRL should be somewhere around season number 50 at this point. And I think it's season 50, or it will be. Wednesday night, of course, going to be Roughneck, Racers Elite Xfinity Series with you and I, and the Moonshiners at 9 p.m. in the nightcap. And next Thursday, Racers Elite Truck Series with John and Daniel once again, as John will probably need some type of coverage for that as well, being he is on assignment, as you had mentioned. And, our crew, as much as we try to swap in and out, everybody comes together and basically gets the job done no matter what happens.
I am getting a much-needed date night with the wife on Saturday. So it's Liam and Mike on Saturday.
Well, won't she be surprised? She hasn't seen you in a friggin' week.
That's why.
She probably doesn't even care, to be honest. She's like, oh, great, I gotta be with him now.
I gotta go be the husband. And then, so Mike will be joining me on ISNF.
Ooh, a wall rub out of the 43 from Alex Teft.
So, and then Extreme got their season wrapped up Tuesday night. So, a lot's happening.
Yeah, a lot's happening. And, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't believe it before, you heard it here first. Not only is Alan married, but he's going on a date night.
Breaking news in the garage, right? He does have a life.
You going to shower and shave before you do all that, or are you just going to, throw a bed sheet over your head and go out for a walk?
No. Hey, look. So, it's a yes day for her, so she gets to do whatever she wants. I told her, I said, we'll go on date night after ISNF, so, after calling 2 500-milers and essentially being online with the boys last week, I kind of owe it to her. But I could check in though.
Don't. Just don't. Give the time to her. Let her do her thing. It's a whole thing. Speaking of doing their thing, Ronnie Norman out here and Austin Smith doing their thing as we get back into this race here on lap number 60. Ronnie Norman side by side now with Austin Smith. As we go to Austin Smith, we can see Ronnie Norman drifting up in front of him. These two drivers getting the hammer and tongs out early as Austin here now looks to the inside. That puts Ronnie Norman at the disadvantage as we're going to take a peek here from the hood. Jeez. These two drivers not even close to giving it up. Not even close.
If you win tonight, you're probably going to win the championship.
If you don't win the championship tonight, it's a very depressing night. If you win the race but not the championship. I always used to think that was strange, like, during the final week of the NASCAR season, I think the earliest that a NASCAR season championship was wrapped up was like a week ahead of time from just my memory. And I always thought to myself, like, gee, the guy who wins the race, it doesn't even matter because he's not the champion. Or in our current championship format in the NASCAR, top 3 series with the chase and the playoffs. It's not even called the chase anymore. But anyway, in that playoff system, let's just say that you win the race, but, the highest finishing playoff driver happens to finish in third. You won the race and you're over there and you're celebrating, but the guy who's really celebrating is in third.
Yeah, it kind of takes away from the race winner there. But I imagine if Ronnie Norman can pull off this win and this championship, he's going to be drinking a whole lot of Budweiser.
Ew. That doesn't even sound appealing. There are here's the thing. I'm a big dude. I love my food and beverages. There are just two beverages here tonight that I just can't get along with. One happens to be Budweiser. The other happens to be Maxwell House back here with John Schoenbachler. Schoenbachler, though, he's got Brandon Honeycutt in hot pursuit behind him. As Honeycutt, you mentioned MASH earlier. Perhaps Brandon Honeycutt is the product of BJ Honeycutt and Peg.
Maybe.
Out of San Francisco.
Could be.
They had a little house that they were trying to buy in Sausalito.
Yeah, MASH was my bedtime. MASH came on, I knew it was bedtime. Kind of split.
I remember being a much younger person once upon a time with my best friend, staying up until like 3 and 4 in the morning watching MASH when we were in high school, just because we had it on DVD. We'd go down to the convenience store. I'd get myself like a half dozen donuts and a quart of milk. Can't imagine why I'm probably pre-diabetic as we speak. And we'd sit up all night and watch this show, and I don't know what became so addicting about it, but my goodness, there I was. I can't see names like Honeycutt, Potter. There are some things that I'm just like, oh yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Well, there's 2 Honeycutts in the field. There's Brandon Honeycutt, no relation to Daniel Honeycutt. So you got that. Checking in the YouTube chat, we got 18 people watching, but let's see here. Crossline Brace says a little duct tape does wonders, and the league says that the track is slick and should be interesting. If you like what you see on the YouTube chat, or like what you see on the YouTube, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and share button, and hit that bell notification. That way, if you want to hear your daily, weekly fix of comedy, you can check out Dave Regal here, and myself on Racers Elite. Each and every time we go live, you will get a notification.
Taking a look at the YouTube.com live chat, Michael Smith giving a old good evening. And Frostline Brace says, a little duct tape does wonders. You know, I don't even, and I know that you and I do a similar job for our day jobs. You're of course in industrial maintenance, and I'm in multifamily housing. But I don't even keep duct tape on the property. I refuse to. I know that if I let it there, somebody's going to use it in a way that it shouldn't be done.
Can't have duct tape.
I will not use duct tape, and if somebody gets a hammer out and it's not for a nail, I get scared.
We can't have duct tape.
Well,
listen,
if you work for me,
there's a lot of things we can't have because people go, well, where's your job like, right? And I say, well, I'll put it like this: we work in a ticking time bomb. You make the right move at the wrong time, Alan's going to be retired. Not only his job, but you know.
Speaking of the right move at the wrong move at the right time, Ronnie Norman up here trying to hold off Ian Campbell, who's suddenly bringing along Kensley Smith. It almost looks like they're trying to work together to try to draft themselves around Ronnie Norman. I know in one of our most recent trips to Chicago, we were trying to avoid the word side draft. But here at Chicagoland, side drafting is absolutely in play. And it looks like right now Ian Campbell trying to consider that move. As we're going to go to the gyro cam here, is Campbell now trying to get around Ronnie Norman on the low side. He is going to hold on tight, 400th of a second separate them. So literally, yeah, just a fender keeping these two drivers apart, and Ronnie Norman in the lead as Norman takes the Budweiser machine and still continues to ride the high side. Now, you can hear those tires screaming for help here underneath Campbell. And I'll bet you if we go up here to Ronnie Norman, we don't hear that same sound.
No, Ronnie Norman trying to be as smooth as possible.
Maybe a little bit here in 3 and 4. But he backs off and cools those tires down, coming to the high side, and now dumping himself down here to the apron.
You mentioned side draft, and I was thinking, where's Daniel Paulus Jr. right now?
Where is Daniel Paulus Jr.? He's probably in a cradle somewhere, still being upset at me for yelling at him that night.
Hey, look, he just still side draft on a road course. Okay?
I think he's still a little timid to be around Dave. I don't talk to him very often. All it took, I think we were it was it Racers Elite Cup?
It was the Cup Series. Yeah, I remember this.
It was in this league, and folks, you had to be there. You know, we're watching the Cup Series, and our esteemed broadcast partner Daniel Paulus was with us, and they hit a straightaway, and he started talking about perhaps the ability to side draft down the straightaway, and it just stopped me dead. My brain short-circuited, and I just said, "Did you just say side draft?" And the poor young man, who had never met me in his life, just kind of stopped dead in his tracks. Oh no, I've offended the fat man. My brain, it took me like a good 2 laps to get that out of my system. It was a toughie.
You reminded me that night. We had a new guy try it out with Daniel.
He didn't come back, did he?
No. You know how baseball announcers will get into a rant when they don't agree with a call?
I'm Ranch Wilder. Just remember, less is more.
That's what you were, a baseball announcer that night. You went straight into Phillies announcing, and it sounded like a baseball announcer.
Buddy, you and I haven't even called a game during baseball season yet. It becomes a problem. The beer and the bourbon flows and the scores come out of my mouth. We'll go check ESPN in the middle of a race. I mean, look, we're here 78 laps in the books tonight, and these guys have not given anybody a break as far as battling. You know, right now we're taking a look at Daniel Honeycutt here in the 72. He's got that machine cranked up, and he's just kind of lurking behind the 88 of Todd Slauson. Slauson now, rubs the wall, could have opened the door for the 72. What it really did, though, was it allowed Aaron Marquis to draw in close, but now Marquis bites the wall. So I'm guessing now here on lap 79, working to 80, here it comes. Just as I was about to call for John Schoenbachler and George Sprinkle, as he sprinkle-dinkled his way onto pit road, getting themselves down here. We're going to see green flag pit stops, and after seeing it a few times this evening, I'm afraid that we're going to see more of that as guys try to make that green flag entrance on the pit road.
Right now, Kinsley Smith looking his way underneath Ronnie Norman there in that A car, and he's trying to bring Ian Campbell with them. Ronnie Norman's been riding that high side as he is not really high, wide, and handsome right now, but Kinsley Smith's going to make a run here. Can he get the fast? No. He cannot. That was
that's
close,
what they call
though.
me when I'm working off of a ladder, right? High, wide, and handsome. Kinsley Smith, though, challenging Ronnie Norman for the race lead as he's drifted back just a little. We're going to take a look here from the nose. This, you know what? This angle right here kind of does for me what the the early 2000s was at DEI, as we see the 15 Napa car working the high side over top of the, and now they just ended it. Well, that was exciting for about a half a second. But, you know, it almost looked just like, you know, Michael Waltrip working right underneath Dale Jr. I mean, that was, woof. I hope somebody gets a shot of that in their YouTube, or I'm sorry, not in their YouTube, but their iRacing file.
Remember whenever Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. fought crew chiefs?
I do, and I remember it not going well.
No, it did not go well at all.
You know, and when we talk about that, I was listening, speaking of Dale Jr., I was listening to the download. I don't know why this thing's not changing camera positions. There we go. I just smacked my stream down. But there are some times where I think swapping crew chiefs among drivers that work for the same organization is dangerous, such as when they swapped out Tony Uri, because, you know, the Uris were kind of upset with Dale Jr., and it was a whole thing over there at DEI back in that time. But then, when all of a sudden Dale Jr. switches and gets Stevie Letarte at Hendrick, and he didn't start with Steve Letarte, he had, who was Dale Jr.'s crew chief early on?
Uri came with him.
Did he come up? No, but then after that it was someone else. After Tony Uri...
Greg Ives.
Yeah, Greg Ives. Right. He had Greg Ives, and he swapped Greg Ives with Steve Letarte for the 24 and sent Ives over to the 24 team. And I remember thinking, they did this at DEI, it didn't work well. But all of a sudden, Steve Letarte kind of took part in a late career renaissance for Dale Jr. at that time.
They did. And the thing too about, you know, Dale Jr., and I listened to that whole podcast with Tony Uri Sr. Junior rather, Tony Uri Jr. That was. They fought like cats and dogs, and that's because they were family and they're almost like brothers. But I remember one part he was talking about the shock at Pocono, and that we got trouble.
We got trouble in River City. as we see Aaron Marquis working here. Here it comes. Here he's trying to get onto pit road. He got the rear end right up onto the banking and wound up locking the tires. And that was enough for race control. We're gonna check this out once again from the nose here. We can see him getting down onto pit road. He's got a little crinkle here on the hood, but as he makes the entry onto pit road, the rear tires get up on the banking, and boom went the proverbial dynamite.
There's another incident too beyond this one with Joshua Neal, I believe.
We're going to take a look and see what might have happened with Joshua Neal. All right now. Joshua Neal coming around here, working just behind the 26 and the 12 of Ian Campbell. They go 3 wide. Oh! I would say that's not a good thing. Ian Campbell doesn't look like he's a very happy camper. Let's take a look here.
It'll buff out.
Buff what out?
It'll buff out.
So they get past the pit road, the pit road problem. Oh,
And that was Jeremy Carter that was involved. I called out the wrong guy.
here it is with Jeremy Carter from his cockpit. You know what? The 12 came out of nowhere. And that pops the motor, and that's the end of his evening. Well, Bullwinkle, here we are in Frostbite Falls. Watch me pull a rabbit out of this hat, says Ronnie Norman. As Ronnie Norman just got shuffled back here a little bit into 4th position, so really not that far back. That's going to put Austin Smith in control of the field. He came down on lap 80. Puffenbarger, Crowell, Norman and Teft. No, and Campbell came down on 87. So slightly newer tires for them, but nothing crazy.
Right.
And with just about 40 laps to go, we're going to step aside here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. He's Alan Bergen. This is Championship Week here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. visit iRacing.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second spot, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Chicagoland Speedway, where we're working lap number 94 in championship week here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the broadcast booth. As right now, your race leader is Corey Crowell. The top 2 in this race right now, not playoff drivers in Crowell and Puffenbarger. They last came down on lap 87. Austin Smith, though, a playoff driver here in the 23. He was down on lap 80, so just slightly older tires, nothing to get too worried about. I'm betting that that Austin Smith, Alex Teft, and Todd Slauson are all kind of wondering if Crowell and Austin Smith and Puffenbarger are going to burn those tires off. And just as I say that, Corey Crowell and Brandon Puffenbarger blow on past here and keep moving forward. So 96 laps in the books, Alan. Just a few more than 30 to go. What are you thinking as far as when it's going to be go time for a couple of these drivers?
The whole race is go time, really. I mean, these guys haven't let up one bit. You know, you mentioned going forward is Corey Crowell, you know, oddly enough, drives Toyota and he's going places. He's moving forward, so, you know. I mean, these guys, the sense of urgency is going to ramp up big time here as we start closing on the end of this race at the end of the season.
Yeah, you know, even the non-playoff drivers are going to be using this race as a springboard for momentum. going into next week and starting that 2024-2025 season. And, I do want to quick take a peek at that schedule that we have coming up right here on Sim Racing Media. And, I know for me, it's always exciting when I get to start a new season, when I get to finish a season. But, moving forward here, next week, of course, we're going to open at Daytona in the new season. And we're going to be going all the way to June here in the 2024 season. So it's going to go Daytona, Auto Club, Charlotte, Vegas, Atlanta, and then Mid-Ohio mixed right in the middle of all of that when we get into April. And I'll tell you what, it's a situation where I look at these races coming up and I'm thinking, we can't possibly miss.
No,
every one of those races, every one of those tracks is an exciting track.
Mid-Ohio is a tough technical road course. And there's so many places at Mid-Ohio that you can get out of this shape. That's the one that I have circled on my calendar.
No, I get it, 1,000%, brother. And, here's the thing. I always look at road courses, and even during the real race season, I'm thinking, oh. But as a driver, I used to be like, oh, I'm in this week. As a broadcaster, they're a joy to call because half of the races is replay of some persuasion because we wind up having to replay, 14 different things on the racetrack at different times. It's just, for me, it's good practice as far as production work goes. And speaking of practice, Kyle Cooper has been practicing here. The 68 of Ricky Rowland here in the Redman Ford Mustang, he had to have practiced that as he was just door-to-door with Gordon Spain. Gordy here running the top line as a lot of these drivers have decided that there's speed up here in the top side. And, as long as you can get enough rubber built into the track, there's plenty of grip up there so that you don't slide up and kiss the wall.
For sure, as, Austin Smith is back to the Gordon Spinner. I love that paint scheme. But, he's a non-playoff driver, and like I say, these guys are trying to get some sort of momentum going into Daytona next week as we start the new season here on Wednesday night.
Corey Crowell is still our race leader once again. Two non-playoff drivers leading this piece in Crowell and Puffenbarger. Now, Puffenbarger starting to fall behind Crowell by about 1.35 seconds. I say that just in time for the caution to come out. Todd Slauson bringing this one out. We're going to see what happened here with old Todd. And that's not Todd. Here he is. Keep an eye right here on the 88, making contact with the 72. Wolf. Yeah, that's not fun. That's not fun for anybody.
He needs his nationwide agent.
Now we're going to see if we can take a look at it here.
Nationwide is on your side.
They better be on his side. I hope the premium's paid. My goodness. We take another look here from the flag stand. As there they make the contact to go up into the wall right under the flag stand. Of course, the yellow flag comes out and Slauson comes to a rest right in the middle of the front stretch. So the question is, do they come down or not? The answer is yes. Corey Crowell, Brandon Puffenbarger, Austin Smith, Alex Teft, everybody in line. Looks like just about every lead lap car is going to come down pit road.
Yep, they need some Goodyear rubbers and Sunoco racing fuel to make it that last.
Did you say Goodyear rubbers?
Goodyear racing rubbers, yes. He says this is a family show.
I have no words. None. I'm out.
I did it. I rendered it.
You got me. You finally got me. Well, folks, even the great ones can't always keep their act together. This will be the money stop, though, as we roll off on lap 105. So when we go back green flag racing, there should be about 24 laps to go here at Chicagoland, as Dave Riegel and Alan Bergen bringing you all of the action here from the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Of course, for those of you that don't know and haven't been with us for very long, the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth is named for one of our long-time and one of our longest tenured teammates here who passed away just last year. And when I say, you know, a big void is lost, or a big void is found, I should say, in the wake of someone that we've lost, that's an understatement here. Tony Trapasso was the glue that held sim racing media together. We went dark for an entire week because Tony produced more than half of our shows, and we went dark for that week until we could try to come up with something. And that Sunday night, the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series came live back on the air with yours truly here in the command seat, and you know, it's just something that we hold near and dear. So when you hear us talk about Tony Trapasso, just understand that he was a fan of racing, just like you folks at home watching us on the YouTube.com live chat. And Frostline Brace, you say that you got to see if there's a way to get this racing on your big TV. There is. If you have a Google Chromecast, you can cast this to your TV. If you have a Roku, you can get this on the YouTube app on your Roku, and as well as if you have a Fire Stick, I believe.
Yep.
Don't ask me about Apple TV. I don't know how it works. I have an Apple phone, and I don't know how I would link that to the TV. I know how to AirPlay, I think it's called.
Yeah, you can AirPlay it.
But I don't know how to AirDrop.
AirPlay
very
easy.
choosy about the technology that I get on the cutting edge of, and that's some of it.
I'm trying to get someone, the guy I work with, to come to the dark side and get Apple products.
Look, I converted to Apple as a result of peer pressure. I know that they warned us about it in health class as a kid. You know, don't fall to peer pressure, say no, and I hopped right on the bandwagon.
Yeah. So I had an Apple iPhone at the last job I had, and I just went out and got my own.
I'm so old that I went from a Nextel, one of the Nextel ruggedized phones, whatever that was, an 805 or something. And then I went to a Crackberry. I had two of those, and then went to iPhone, and then went to a Samsung. And then came rushing back to iPhone under the guise of peer pressure.
Well, I can tell you who's going to have peer pressure when we get to start here, and that's Corey Corral in that number 20 car, as he chose the inside line. He's got Brandon Poffenbarger here giving him all kinds of peer pressure as we come to the Geico restart zone. Base car going to make that hard left turn, and Brandon Poffenbarger is going, or Corey Corral is on the button as we come to the Geico restart zone. And we are down and away. Green flag is back out with a little over 24, 25 laps to go here on a Wednesday night here, championship night, and Austin Smith jumping out to the early lead here. And no look now, but Daniel Honeycutt, he's got to run underneath Austin Smith as they both head down. Everybody heads down the back straightaway.
Yeah, watching this battle here from Corey Crowell's perspective is something pretty interesting, as these two drivers ahead of him, both playoff drivers, are now racing for the championship. Daniel Honeycutt and Austin Smith side by side through the front stretch and into turns 1 and 2. The Oak Harbor, Ohio native, however, lurking just behind, waiting for somebody to make a mistake. I'll tell you what, though, when you get to this point in the season, you realize that those two drivers are racing for, you know, a championship. The chances of either one of them making a catastrophic mistake are slim to none, and Slim went out for ice cream.
Ooh, Corey Corral is going to scrape the wall there as he is riding behind his Midwest Motorsports teammate. But, you know, all three, the top three right now are Toyotas. Ronnie Norman, I'm watching this Ronnie Norman battle right here, and he is all the way back to 6th position as Kyle Cooper is working on the inside, and Brandon Smith is right behind him.
Yeah, Ronnie Norman got buried back in traffic as he's currently working the high side over Kyle Cooper. They're trying to get themselves up here to Kensley Smith, but Kensley Smith has a 0.7 of a second gap over Norman and Cooper. So that's going to be something really insurmountable for Norman to be able to overcome here in the late stage of this race. We are officially 20 to go now here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series Championship Week at Chicagoland. And I'll tell you what, I know that in the real world we couldn't have a championship in Chicago just because, you know, it would be November in Chicago and track temperature would be frigid, period. It would be the frozen tundra of Chicagoland Speedway. But instead, conversely, having, you know, of course, Chicagoland on our iRacing schedules is still exciting. Really, this has become another eternal racetrack here on the iRacing.com servers.
It has. And, you know, the Chicago street race effectively has taken the place of the Chicagoland Speedway. But, you know, for a while there, we thought Worldwide Technology was going to become dormant, and, you know, the ownership group like that brought IndyCar back. Then came the trucks, and then came the then came ARCA, and now we got a cup date. So anything could happen at these tracks like Chicagoland or Kentucky.
Daniel Honeycutt, though, opening up a 0.7 of a second lead over Austin Smith. All of a sudden, Daniel Honeycutt going into cruise mode as he has reached that altitude here in our race with 17 laps to go at the line. Brandon Puffenbarger, the only non-playoff driver in the top three, falling behind by nearly a full second now, and then some over under Daniel Honeycutt. And getting a little chippy here is Kensley Smith and Ronnie Norman. I said it earlier, and it looks just way too cool to have the Napa and the Budweiser machines side by side here with those DEI stripes.
Ronnie Norman looking underneath Kensley Smith as he's going to go to the apron, and they're using every inch of this racetrack as it has become. Ooh, Kensley Smith gets into the wall.
Smith gets into the wall. That checks up. My goodness. That's going to check up just behind him, the 20 of Corey Crowell. As Crowell now way off the pace as he's got to try to recover. That opens the door for John Schoenbachler and the Maxwell House Chevrolet Camaro to get here into 11th position. Kensley Smith now in 15th. Doesn't lose a whole lot of positions here as he's now got to contend with Lee Campbell for 9th position. Daniel Honeycutt, meanwhile, up here atop the pile, 0.7 of a second and a little less over Austin Smith, who leads Brandon Puffenbarger by 0.6 of a second. Closest battle on the racetrack right now is between Todd Slauson and Brandon Sanfilippo, as Sanfilippo here in the 27 is trying to hold off the playoff driver Slauson on lap number 117 with 14 to go.
Yeah, 14 to go. You know, still anybody's game as Todd Slauson gets a little wiggly out of, you know, we were just out of frame. But, I mean, these guys are pushing the cars to the absolute max and then some.
Yeah, here with the Nationwide 88, he's going to work over top of Jarrett Larder. I'm sorry, not Jarrett Larder. The 82 of Joshua Neal. As Neal right now, the lap car, down just one lap, could use that little bit of a bump to get himself up onto the lead lap. So a caution coming out could be good for Joshua Neal in the 82 as he is the lucky dog. Brandon Honeycutt coming down pit road here in the 13 machine. So that's an interesting choice here with 12 to go. Not sure what's caused Honeycutt to decide that, but here we are.
Maybe in case there's another caution.
Whatever toots your horn. That's kind of where we're at here as Daniel Honeycutt now stands to win the 2023-24 championship here with 12 to go, as long as he can hold it steady here over top of Austin Smith. Now 0.8 of a second the gap nearly between Honeycutt and Smith as they lead Kyle Cooper in the 73 by 1.45 seconds up to Honeycutt.
Daniel Honeycutt in control of this race pretty handily, and there's the eyeball test all the way back to Austin Smith. That's a pretty sizable gap there. But here comes Ronnie Norman on the outside. Todd Slauson running that inside line, as he definitely had Nationwide on his side earlier in that wreck. He got the car all fixed up.
Daniel Honeycutt with the 72, still leading this piece over top of Austin Smith. We're watching Ronnie Norman, who controlled all 98 laps last week, now running in 4th position just behind Kyle Cooper. As he now looks to the inside of Cooper, he gets a little bit of air push from Puffenbarger, and he's going to slide on past Kyle Cooper as if he had a little bit of grease there on the side of the 8 machine. So now that puts Ronnie Norman up onto the podium. 3 playoff drivers lead this piece going into the twilight of the night, as it's going to be Honeycutt, Smith, and Norman atop the pile. Ronnie Norman knows how to get around this track. He proved that earlier as he had control of this race. It seemed like, Alan, and I don't know about you, but it seemed like he did nothing but lead last week and then did nothing but lead tonight up until the caution bugs started flying around.
Dominating all last week, all 98 laps in Auto Club Speedway. But tonight here in Chicago, the stands of the hourglass are quickly running out for Ronnie Norman in this championship, as he currently runs P3 to Daniel Honeycutt and Austin Smith. So he's got to really make some moves or hope a caution comes out. Daniel Honeycutt turned on the afterburners when he got around Austin Smith, and he was gone. He's halfway back home to Ohio, where he's from.
Daniel Honeycutt leads Austin Smith and Ronnie Norman now. Ronnie Norman following Honeycutt by about 1 3/4 seconds. So he's got a lot of room to make up and not enough. And I'm afraid it's going to be one of those, well, if I just had 10 more laps, I could have gotten up there. And we're watching that lead slowly dissipate. But I don't think I don't think Norman has enough to get up to Honeycutt.
Yes, Austin Smith, though, inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter, Ronnie Norman there. Like I said earlier, the stands of the hourglass are starting to dwindle down as we are watching these guys.
The cream rising to the top here as another playoff driver has gotten in on the dance. Todd Slauson now running in 4th position up here, running in the 88 machine. So Slauson now getting up into the top 4 as he was just back in 7th position. As Daniel Honeycutt leads us here. He's up 25 spots from where he had started back in 26. Dead last to leading this piece.
Yeah, dead last to leading this. And that's what Daniel Honeycutt does. Daniel Honeycutt right now is doing Daniel Honeycutt things.
Well, and the Georgia's Toyota Supra here all cranked up to crazy as we're 4 laps to go in the 23-24 season of the Racers Elite Xfinity Series right here on Sim Racing Media. We've been with you every step of the way this season. We will be with you every step of the way next season, which of course starts at Daytona next Wednesday night right here on Sim Racing Media. Alan and I will be with you once again as we're going to spend a full season together. And rolling out of turn number 4 once again, crossing the start-finish line. 3 laps to go for Daniel Honeycutt to reach the promised land. You know, it took Moses 40 years to reach the promised land. It only took Honeycutt to a couple of weeks.
Daniel Honeycutt right now is 58 points behind points leader Austin Smith right now as it stands, or coming into tonight.
Crossing the start-finish line, the popsicle sticks go in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Still working our way toward the white flag as Daniel Honeycutt leads Austin Smith and Ronnie Norman. Barring a catastrophe, when the white flag comes out, we will race back to the checkered flag, and we will crown the 2023-2024 champion of the Racers Elite Xfinity Series right here before your very eyes. We see that promised land flag a-flying As Daniel Honeycutt crosses the start-finish line, the popsicle sticks go down, and we're racing back to the checkered flag. Daniel Honeycutt, Austin Smith, and Ronnie Norman here lead the way with Todd Slauson in tow. 4 playoff drivers in your top 5, as Kyle Cooper, the only non-playoff driver in contention here, as barring anything horrific, Daniel Honeycutt, after a long season driving from the rear of the field up here to the lead, comes out of turn number 4, crosses the start-finish line, captures not only the checkered flag, but of course also the 2023-2024 championship here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series.
What a season for Daniel Honeycutt. 25 positions. He started 26th on the field tonight. Going from 0 to hero all in one night. And that goes all the way back to that win in Pocono, Dave, that punched his ticket into the playoff.
A big congratulations to Daniel Honeycutt, and he will be joined on the podium tonight by Austin Smith and Ronnie Norman, who's already coming down pit road. We're going to see if we can get a hold of old Daniel here.
Need Daniel Honeycutt?
You'll need all 3 of them. Hey, Daniel, it's Dave and Alan up in the broadcast booth. You got us.
I think they're burning it down.
Hey, Daniel, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got us.
Yep, I got you.
Man, listen, what a great race going all the way from the back of the field tonight to victory lane now. How are you feeling being able to capture the championship and the checkered flag all at once, a 2-for-1 deal?
Well, I didn't get the championship, but that gave to Austin, but I did get the checkered flag, so that felt pretty good. I don't know how I did it. I struggled for most of the night, but I was able to kind of get it up front when it mattered most and take it from there.
Well, of course, I didn't hear the scoring decision to decide that Austin Smith was going to be the champion. But, you know, you've got to feel good, though, you know, getting here to the end of this race in victory lane. That's going to springboard you next week at Daytona. What are you thinking as we head into the next season with a fresh slate and, you know, this win under your belt to help you springboard that?
Well, it's always good to get the momentum going, especially for the start of a new season. I'm hoping that next season turns out a whole lot better than this season did. Maybe get a few more wins. Learned a lot, though, but I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to get back at it.
You know, every race season is all about, you know, learning and developing your craft. And when you're with a group of drivers, especially ones as good as we have here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series, I'm sure that every week you're learning something and just kind of sharpening the blade a little bit as you grow as a race car driver. And, you know, to me, that's something that you can't learn anywhere but here in the sim.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. This field is full of, like, talented drivers and just really good people that you can learn from. I can even take this race, for example. At the start, I was struggling running the high line, and then I just saw Kinsley Smith and Ian Campbell just blow by me on the inside. Well, I kind of took what they were doing, just watched them for a little bit, and next thing I know, it led me to the win. So you always learn something. There's always something to learn from somebody. It's just a lot of fun. These are a really great group of guys, and I enjoy racing with them every week.
Without a doubt. And listen, congratulations once again here on capturing the checkered flag at Chicagoland. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for this run tonight?
Just my team as always, and you guys up in the booth for putting this thing on. It's a great show as always, and can't wait to go back and rewatch it. And yeah, just thank y'all and all that in the league for another successful season, and look forward to more of really great seasons to come and see what we can go from there.
All right, my friend, listen, congratulations on the win tonight. We'll see you next week at Daytona, and go ahead and celebrate with the team.
I will. Thank you, guys.
And Alan, I believe you have our champion, Austin John Smith.
Austin, it's Alan and Dave up in the booth. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, it couldn't be better. How's it going, guys?
Well, you didn't win the battle, but you did win the war.
Love
Take us through that. Take it to that. Was that 2 championships now, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I probably don't deserve this one, to be honest with you. I was much slower on that longer run than Ronnie, and if that thing would have went green, and if he didn't get caught, 1 lap down and have to take the lucky dog, man, he was gone. So he was much better tonight, but I guess that's racing. You take what you can get, and came out on top.
So look, you had a great season. Are you looking forward to getting back to Daytona?
No. Is anybody ever looking forward to getting back to Daytona?
Yeah, those of us that don't have to drive it.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's kind of a crapshoot at Daytona, so it is what it is. But a new season, we'll see what we can do.
And that's the thing too, is that win there in Chicago when we were on the street course. I told Mike Damani, I said that win right there was a statement win, and I called my shot that week. I said Austin Smith's going to win this championship, and here you are.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling that shot. Yeah, I love street courses and I love road courses. It's just so much fun to go through the gears and just manage your braking. Love those types of tracks. So I think we got Watkins Glen on the schedule next season. So in Mid-Ohio, yeah. So put in some laps there, but it should be pretty fun there. Usually do pretty good on the road courses.
Well, Austin, before we get you out of here, is there anybody that you would like to thank to help get you here tonight?
Yeah, I gotta thank a huge thank you to my team and Corey, Jeremy, Josh, my dad when he's around. They're always helping me, always giving me information that I need, and I can't thank them enough. Need to thank you guys for amazing broadcast as always, and Andrew at Racers Elite putting everything on. Like I said last night, none of this would be possible without Andrew and all the work he does behind the scenes. So I really appreciate that. And then just shout out to my parents for watching and all my my friends and family. I know my brother's watching on the road in his truck, so shout out to him.
All right, and that is Austin Smith, your 2023-24 Xfinity champion.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir. And last but certainly not least, a man who dominated last week and who dominated the beginning of this piece this week, driver of the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet, Ronnie Norman. It's Dave Regal and Alan Bergen up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Well, I thought we were going to talk slightly sooner in the post-race here. I thought maybe I'd see a little bit higher on the podium after you were dominant earlier in this race. But take us through that and how you wound up here in third.
Just with the pit cycles and that caution coming out, just did not do me any favors. I got caught a lap down and had to do the lucky dog, and then with the way iRacing does their lucky dog stuff, everybody's at the end of the line, even to the lap cars. So, trying to battle back from that late in the race was going to be a task of its own. And I got back to third. I was driving. I mean, I gave it everything I had to get back up there to Austin and try to win this race, but just not enough laps. I mean, how many we ran, I don't know if there's anything I could have done different. But yeah, like I said, just that caution just falling at the wrong time and just trying to set up our stuff for some green flag pit stops. And I mean, like I said, I can't hang my head about anything. The car was fast again tonight. I'm pretty sure I led the most laps again. Like I said, just can't really say disappointed, but it just sucks because, I mean, like you said, you can't really control cautions around here, but I feel like that's really the one that bit me in the butt tonight.
Yeah, it certainly was. But you know what? As we close the curtain on one season, we get ready to set the stage for the next season. Next week, as we go to Daytona, of course, you proved yourself dominant at the Super Speedway a week ago. What are you thinking as we look forward now to another Super Speedway early on in the season?
Well, unfortunately, this was my last race. I'm starting a new job, going back over the road trucking, so can't really take my sim with me. I was happy to be able to finish out this season the way it worked. I got one more week next week, and then I head to Kansas City for orientation. So I'm gonna probably not be racing for a couple years, except for if I come home for my home time or whatnot. But wish I could wish I could race some more, but it's gonna suck not racing a lot as I'm used to here. I've been been hardcore at it for the past 2 years and a whole bunch of leagues. So I've enjoyed my time. That's why I've been racing a bunch of races here to end this before I left, just because I wanted to get it all out of my system before I wasn't racing all the time anymore. So the real life comes first. This will always be here when I get back. So hopefully, whenever we're done messing around with driving over the road, seeing the country, we'll come back home. Hopefully, buy me a good setup and get back on iRacing.
You can take the iRacing. You take the guy. You can take the iRacing out of the guy.
It sounds like you want to grow up and be a grown up, and it's not that much fun. I don't recommend it. So it's a 1-star review to be a grown up and get a real job.
Yeah, I've heard some bad reviews on it myself, but it is what it is, unfortunately. And like I said, this will always be here. Like I said, I'm sure everybody will welcome me back into the league whenever that time is. So hopefully there's still a thing whenever that time comes around, because it's hard to keep leagues running these days. But when you find a good one, you definitely want to stay in it and help them grow and help them keep going, because getting a group of guys that run good and run some green flag laps, it's hard to find out there these days. So just appreciate everything that Alex and his brothers put on. I've had fun in here. Only, at least the championship was only 4 points difference, so made it interesting. Had a race high 4 wins on the season here in the Xfinity series. So definitely showed out a little bit. Tried our best, but just couldn't top Austin. So congrats to him. And also shout out to my teammate in third place there, Todd Slauson. He made a heck of a rebound in this race. He was catching me there at the end. I didn't even know where the heck he came from. So glad he had a good race here, this final race of the season, and hopefully everybody has fun for the start of the next season next week. So just appreciate everybody.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations on the third place finish tonight. Good luck in your future endeavors, of course. And I'll be honest with you. Even if for some reason, some unforeseen reason, Racers Elite isn't here, you can always come over to SRM and check out who we're broadcasting, because we'll leave the light on for you, that's for sure.
I'll definitely take that offer. I appreciate it.
All right, my friend. Well, that'll wrap things up for us here in the broadcast booth, Alan, as the final one of the 2023-24 season is in the books here for the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. Alan, it's been an exciting few weeks as I got to call this final stage of the season, and I could not be more excited for next season, of course, starting at my favorite racetrack, Daytona International Speedway. As we look at the final results here tonight, Daniel Honeycutt brings home the brings home the checkered flag, while Austin Smith brings home the championship, and Ronnie Norman gets the honorable mention here on the podium. Todd Slauson finishing in 4th, while Brandon Puffenbarger rounds out your top 5. Kyle Cooper finishes in 6th, while Kensley Smith, Lee Campbell, Corey Crowell, and John Schoenbachler finish in 10th. Alex Teft, one of your chief cooks and bottle washers here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series, finishes in 11th, while Brandon Sanfilippo finishes in 12th. Gordon Spain and Jarrett Larder finish 13th and 14th, while Joshua Neal and Andrew Teft finish in 15th and 16th. Ricky Rowland and Brandon Honeycutt finish in 17th and 18th, while Dennis Kane finishes 19th. Jeremy Carter rounds out your top 20, while Truth Hoke finishes in 21st. Aaron Marquis, Ian Campbell, Matthew Jarrett, George Sprinkle, and Michael Brooks make up the remainder of the field here, as 26 drivers took the green flag and really put on a great show tonight, Alan.
Oh, they absolutely did, and I'm looking forward to Daytona. I know a few of these guys aren't really looking forward to Daytona, but one guy who's looking to pick up right where he left off is Austin Smith, as he's celebrating the Racers Elite Xfinity Championship, and tomorrow he's going to be racing same bat time, same bat channel, same bat place. But unfortunately, he had to give up his playoff spot. Or he did not have to give up his playoff spot, but he had a work trip that kind of buried him in the playoffs. So he's mathematically eliminated from tomorrow's championship.
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap things up here tonight in the 2023-24 Racers Elite Xfinity Series. I want to thank all of you for being along for the ride with us tonight in the youtube.com live chat. Make sure that you tune in next week, same time, same place, as my partner just said. And I want to thank all of you for making us a part of your evening, because we hope to be a part of your evenings moving forward for a very long time. So for my partner, Alan Bergen, and myself, Dave Regal, here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, thanks for watching. And as you go down the road of life, don't play in traffic. Good night, everyone.